right, welcome to microbiology. So you have enrolled in an online section of microbiology, which means that this course is going to be completed entirely online. We do not have any required meeting times, so you'll complete this asynchronously online at your own time, at your own pace, as long as you're meeting those key deadlines that are listed in the syllabus. So this video is just to welcome you to the course and give you an overview of how to complete the course content. So this is our course landing page in Blackboard. Announcements will be posted under the Announcements tab. You will be hearing from me every Friday, just to give you a heads up of what's coming due. Most of our assignments are going to be due on Sundays, so on Fridays it's kind of a 2-day heads up that something's going to be due the coming Sunday. The virtual meeting room is here if we need to meet. So you can see the link to join the Zoom meeting is right here. If you need to meet with me, it's always a good idea to email me and plan ahead so that I can prepare for the meeting and get your questions answered before we meet. So definitely send me an email and schedule an appointment with me to meet. I do have office hours. You'll have to review your course syllabus to see what those office hours are, and then every course has different sets of office hours depending on what semester you're taking the course. So make sure you review the office hours in the syllabus, and even if it's during my office hours, an email heads up is always appreciated. The syllabus is located under the Syllabus tab, and then there's some other information here. I'm going to pull up the syllabus and show you the most important part of the syllabus. So this is our typical syllabus format. There's a lot of information here that talks about the course grading policies. When you get to the center here, this is the most important part. So this is where all of the due dates for the course are going to be. So you want to pay close attention to the due dates that are listed in the syllabus. McGraw-Hill Connect is how we're going to complete our virtual labs. And with McGraw-Hill, it's a little bit different because we have to set due dates due at the end of the semester. Because if I actually set the due date according to when it's supposed to be listed in the syllabus, then you lose access to those labs after that due date. I wanted to give students an opportunity to have that access for the whole semester, so I decided instead of cutting off your access when it's due, I'm just going to leave it open until the end of the semester. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't follow the due dates in the syllabus. You definitely will be graded, and we will be following the syllabus schedule. This is just an example of a syllabus schedule, so make sure that you pull up your current syllabus in your microbiology course to make sure that you are following the appropriate due dates. And you can see that modules are broken down, and there's a part 1 and part 2 to each module. And you typically get 1 to 2 weeks depending on what length of the course you have to complete each module. Again, most assignments are going to be due on Sundays, and then gets through to the end of the semester when the course end date varies depending on what section you enrolled in. Again, this is the most important part of the syllabus, so make sure you take some time to review it. Textbook information is listed under the Textbook Information tab. So you can see the book that's required, and the book requires that Connect access. So we do get Cohen's Microbiology textbook through the bookstore, and then it has to come with that online access. About your instructor, if you want to learn a little bit more about me, you can find out more information here. Let me get into the learning modules. Excuse me. So the pre-work module should ideally be completed before the course begins, but you do have until midnight on the course start date to complete all of the pre-work. So you'll just go through and follow the step-by-step instructions. Step 1, you're going to watch a video. Step 2, you're going to watch this video that I'm recording right now. Step 3, you're going to review the microbiology course syllabus, and that's a link that takes you right to the syllabus tab. And then you're going to purchase access to your textbook, and that's a link that takes you right to the textbook tab. Purchasing textbooks varies per semester, so you want to actually read the details that are in the textbook information tab to get that current information. Then we do use Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor, so you want to make sure to download that, and then you want to take this Respondus verification quiz. It's a 1-question quiz that just verifies that you can use the Respondus browser. Because we use the Lockdown browser on the final exam, I want everyone to verify that they can use it so that they don't get to the end of the course and they don't know how. If you have any issues with Respondus, please feel free to reach out to Tech Central. They're great at working with students and getting them up to date with the newest edition, the newest download, and troubleshooting on your own personal computers to get this to work. Then you're going to complete the microbiology lab safety training. It's a checklist and slides that are just going to help you answer the questions in the quiz. Even though this is an online microbiology course, part of the course competencies say that we teach you lab safety. So this is kind of how we cover that. So you want to make sure to go through there. And then there's just some tips on how to be successful in an online science course. So there's some slides and a corresponding quiz that goes with that. Then you're going to actually complete your first lab. So this is a pre-work lab. It's basically a tutorial of how to use McGraw-Hill Connect. So you want to get through all of these assignments as your pre-work. Something I do want to point out in the syllabus tab, instructor drops and census reporting policy. So in order to not get dropped from the course, you have to log into the course Blackboard page and submit at least one assignment in Blackboard. So as long as you do that within the first full week of the course, you won't be dropped from the course. If you don't, I'll be reaching out to you and giving you a couple warnings, and then you will end up getting dropped if you don't submit any assignments. So I just wanted to point that out so that you're aware that you do have to go in there and complete the assignments, and the best way to complete an assignment is just getting those pre-work assignments completed. Then we go into a typical module. The module has an introduction, which presents a case study that you can kind of think about as you're reading through the lecture content, the textbook, and listening to the lecture videos. Then there's a study guide that lists all the terms that you're responsible for, and the study guide pretty much follows along with my lecture videos. So the terms that are presented in the study guide pretty much go in order of what I presented my lectures. We have the lecture content, and there's a part 1 and a part 2. So part 1 contains the PowerPoint slides and all of my YouTube videos that go with the first part of the lecture, and then the labs here go with that lecture content. Then we have part 2, and then these labs correspond to this lecture content. There is a Quizlet that is virtual flashcards that are already made for you, and those contain all of the terms from the study guide. Quizlet is flashcards that contain definition type memorization. It does not allow to create like summaries of major processes. So you won't find like cellular respiration or anything like that, these lengthy processes explained out in the Quizlet flashcards. But it is really helpful just for a quick source to help you memorize so that you don't have to spend your time making the flashcards. They're already created for you. Then every module typically has a lecture test and or a lab test. So you'll see lecture tests in every module. Some modules skip the lab test, but the lecture test is based on that study guide, all of those definitions in the study guide, and the lecture content, the PowerPoints, and the videos. And your lab test is based on the labs that you complete, and then my lab technique videos that I've posted. If I don't present it in this course, you're not going to find it on the test. So if there's a lot of additional content that's presented in the textbook, I strongly advise that you stick to focusing on what I talk about in my PowerPoints and in my lecture videos and what I actually have presented in this module. So you can kind of ignore all the extra stuff that's found in the textbook. We do go into detail of pretty much everything in the textbook, but at a certain level. So you want to make sure to pay attention to what I actually present in the course. So again, that's going to take you all the way through. There's 7 modules, and once you get to module 7, you'll find the final exams in there. So Respondus Monitor is required for the final. There's a final exam overview, and then there's the final lecture exam that requires Respondus Lockdown, and then the final lab practical exam. I always get the question, can I use my notes on the final exam? Notes are strongly discouraged throughout the entire course. Like, you should not be using your notes. Ideally, in the perfect world, especially if this were being taken in person, you would not have access to your notes in an in-person test. However, I understand that most students do rely on their notes and do have notes next to them during exams. I am not going to be reviewing the video footage to make sure that you're not using notes. The video is simply to ensure that the person enrolled in the course is the person that's completing the final exam. So as long as it's you on camera, you have an ID, and I can verify that it's you taking that exam and that no one else is in the room around you helping you with that exam, then you'll be fine with the Respondus Lockdown browser. So if you do need to have a cheat sheet or some notes next to you during the final exam, that's completely okay. I'm not going to be reviewing video footage to make sure that there's no notes. The main point is that no one should be helping you with that exam, and it should actually be you taking the exam. So going through a few other things on the Blackboard page here, you can see My Grades will give you your current grade in the course. Email through Blackboard. If you ever want to email me, or if you want to get in touch with any other students in the course, you can email through Blackboard, and you can select which participants you want to email. There is a Diversity and Inclusion tab if you're interested in how to get more diversity, equity, and inclusion in the sciences. There's a whole bunch of organizations that you can be a part of, and we've put that together as a science department. So that's a topic that you can review if you're interested. Student Resources just gives you some additional resources to help you be successful at Gateway. If there's anything that you ever have questions with, the best way to contact me is through my email. And I will go to here. So my email is listed here, dutton@gtc.edu. When you send me an email, please specify your section number. Section number can be found up here at the top. It's not these initial numbers, but it would be 806, so starting with the number 8, 806 197 1W7A is this specific section number. But when you actually go into Blackboard, you'll be able to see what your section number is, and that's the number that you want to give me. It starts with the number 8 and then ends with typically a letter. So if you have any questions, again, please feel free to email me, reach out to me, and I'm happy to help. And if you ever need to meet with me virtually, we can always schedule a meeting to do so. I'm looking forward to a great semester, and I hope you guys enjoy the course.